The first time that we actually showed it to a large group of people was Cinema Expo, which is an exhibitors convention in Amsterdam. We argued about what content to include, and there was a concern that we were including too much of the Fern Gully elements of the film. In particular, the scene where the wood sprites land on Jake. We decided that we were going to keep it in. And we presented this in Amsterdam to a mixed audience, 3,500 people. The response was remarkable. That was really when it proved to us that you could not just sell this movie in 30-second bites. More of this movie was more. We went out and we did Comic-Con, where we showed an abbreviated version of what we showed at Cinema Expo.
Are you ready to go to Pandora? All right, then let's go.
There were some concerns at the studio that the reaction wasn't big enough. I thought it went perfectly. It was a great introduction to an audience.
Still, they were dealing more with the 3D and with the CG. They weren't dealing with the film as a narrative. They weren't dealing with it as a story. So we were introducing them to what the film might be.
We don't want you to know until December 18th. We want you to still hold back something for the fun of the voyage.
And then John Lando and I came up with this idea to do Avatar Day.
Avatar Day was where we went out and we took over theaters and we invited audience members to come for free to see 15 minutes of the movie in 3D around the world. It was interesting. The trailer for the film went out the day before, and the trailer got a very mixed response.
There was this sense of, well, what's all the fuss about? This looks like, you know, Smurfs or Thundercats or whatever. And pretty soon they're ripping us a new one on the internet, 7,500 comments long about how bad this movie is and how it's doomed to fail.
I did press for another film on Avatar Day, and all those guys were bagging the movie because they'd just seen the little kind of trailer on the TV. That was a hard thing to stand there and defend, but I'll defend this product all the way. You know, and Jim just said, we'll just stand by what we do and keep telling the story.
But the Avatar Day footage, when people went and saw it in the theater and didn't see it in a 1.5 or a 2-minute trailer, but saw 15 minutes of the movie, the response was overwhelming.
Are you ready to rock? Yeah. All right, cool.
I remember in the last year before the release of the film, I think I got about 5 or 6 days off in a year between doing the sound, doing the music, doing the visual effects, working with all the different teams that were working on the finish. It was unbelievable.
And we did video conferencing, so Jim could actually physically point out something. And we would spend hours, if not days, in these review sessions. And oftentimes, we would schedule multiple ones in one day, where we would schedule the crews that were in London in the early morning, because it was already there late night.
Tim, how you doing?
You want to get time?
Yeah. What time is it there? It must be fairly late.
We would schedule the crews that were in California at midday, and we would schedule in the afternoon Weta, because it was now just their morning.
It's still boiling here, and then we essentially kind of run out of it to what is now 100% Pandoran atmosphere.
One of the biggest challenges on this movie was James Horner's. How do you create music for a world that doesn't exist? Jim wanted him and challenged him to combine indigenous sounds into a traditional cinematic score. He came to the set when we were filming the scenes that had the music. He had to create music early on so that we could play it back during certain scenes.
The first thing James did on this film was bring in an ethnomusicologist and start collecting sounds, vocal sounds and various different instruments from around the world.
Initially, the music was a lot more ethnically based. There were lots of people playing stuff. The art department drew about 12 or 15 ethnic percussion instruments that these people would play. And so I was tasked with writing songs for these instruments. And all of that had to be done before things were shot, because obviously the actors had to do the motion capture for that stuff. What I did was I sampled a lot of interesting instruments. And then I worked with them electronically. to get an effect that was different than the instrument could make, but that had a kind of a weird spectral quality that made it sound like you really haven't heard it before, but it doesn't sound quite human either.
3, 4, Kappa, Kose, Mawe, Ta, 2, 3, Ka, Tane.
And they were two women that just are professional singers, and they just pinched off their voice to sound like sort of half African, half Navi, children, adult.
Tane, Tane.
A couple of days went by where we didn't really keep anything that was sung. It was just getting the right sound.
We can get one good one.
No, we trust your ears.
Yeah.
Paul Frommer was the guy who invented the language, and I asked him to write me syllables and consonants that I could use when my people were singing.
I think it's incredibly powerful, and I think he gets to these amazing kind of spiritual moments. He gets to these, huge, epic, heroic moments. Which, by the way, there are a number of composers that can do that epic, heroic thing. But to integrate that all organically and always tell the audience exactly what they should be feeling
Without trying to force them to feel it.
it should always accentuate beyond what you're already predisposed to feel.
Movies aren't made by one person, they're made by a big group of people. And, there's got to be one, idiot that kind of charges out front and says, "Come on, guys, let's go." But then after that, you're putting up on the screen as a result of a team, and in this case, we're going to put a movie out there that's going to look amazing no matter, what version you see it in. But we can know in our hearts that we've made a great film. So I think you guys should give up a little round of applause for yourselves.
Jim said that we would solve our last problem on the last day we delivered the movie. And that held true.
Jim looks at every phase of production and says, at a certain point, this is going to go out of our hands. So what we envisioned doing was basically customizing the release so that every viewer in every theater got the best possible experience. There's a lot of vagaries when it comes to public exhibition. Screens are different sizes. You've got different formats and technologies involving 3D. So we did something that had never been done before. We did a customized release. Wherever you went, it was going to be the perfect digital cinema package for that theater, and you were going to get the best possible screening of Avatar that you possibly could.
We spent 4.5 years on Avatar. We wanted to deliver a perfect experience. Perfect in the photography, perfect in the post-production, perfect in the CG. And we really jumped through a lot of hoops to deliver that experience to the audience.
Just to put the glasses on and start that movie and be taken right into space and right to Pandora, it was so visceral. It was so exciting. And I'd never been taken literally, it felt, to another world. I wasn't prepared for, first of all, how powerful the emotional story was and how subliminal the effects were. It was seamless. And I just forgot all the work that had gone into it and was just transported.
I think we're living in a day and age now where we realise what we're doing to this planet. It's right in the forefront of a lot of people's minds.
You young people are going to have to accept this responsibility. It's your lives.
This movie's basically saying, let's just stop for a minute and take a damn look at what we're doing to this world. It seems quite simple. By doing something you can make a change. It just comes down to your choices in life. It seems like the Na'vi have discovered that, how to live with one with their planet and live with one with all their insecurities. That to me is the message of the movie. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to make a better choice.
I've been asked to be here to help them raise this voice, raise this cry, and to be a part of this very, very important moment and this very important battle.
This movie has sent those messages out in a very profound way, and we all, I think, collectively have been touched by them.
Jim has gone to such great lengths to not only trying to say, suspend your disbelief, he's trying to say, be here, experience this.
I love the fact that I'm part of a project that's always going to be remembered or thought of as a very significant moment in the history of film.
It feels really, really good to have been a part of something so special and to have worked with people that were so passionate about something that we all just held together and gave it our all. And it's a really good family to belong to. And that's what thrills me, is the fact that throughout history, we're stamped. And nobody can take that away. Like, it did happen, and it did conquer, and it feels great.
Whatever one thinks of the movie, I know what we accomplished in solving these technical challenges. I know that we were able to take from the actors their beautiful, amazing performances and preserve them in their computer-generated characters. And that was my biggest goal.
See the world we come from. There's no green there. They killed their mother. And they're gonna do the same here.
The question remains, how much does a piece of entertainment, a movie, actually change the way people act? One can hope that people feel that little twinge of conscience, that little sense of responsibility. It can only be a movement in the right direction. I just don't want to feel that I'm going through this process of making these movies just entertaining people and it has no higher purpose. I'll settle for a small change.
I see you.